Today, thousands and thousands of Africans and many countries in Africa have conflicts. Notably, from Libya, Cameroon, Nigeria, Biafra, and Boko Haram, to Democratic Republic of Congo, of where we have seen a resurgence of the past military and conflicts coming back in that country. Hundreds and hundreds of people have been displaced, killed, maimed, tortured, raped, several of them dying of hunger, starvation, and other natural causes. The fighting seems not to be ending. For the sake of Libya, the Libyan recognized international government is under siege in Tripoli from another faction recognized by Egypt, France, UAE, and other countries. Whereas the one in Tripoli is recognized by the UN, it has been bombarded, has been strangulated, and many millions of Libyans are dying of hunger, lack of water. The water system has been cut off. The bombardment goes on. In Democratic Republic of Congo, we've seen more of active rebel activities returning to the region after some silence has been observed. When we come to Cameroon, we see millions and millions of Amazonians slaughtered. Yet, when you come to Biafra, again millions and hundreds of millions and millions are worried, displaced, tortured by the Buhari regime. Yet again in the north, we see Boko Haram killing, maiming, abducting, and burning down villages in the same Nigeria. When you cross over to Central African Republic, the same is the history that has littered Africa. While all these events are taking shape, Africa is silent. Africa is not making enough efforts to find a solution to what is causing the problems in Libya, in DRC, in Cameroon, in Nigeria, Biafra, and now you add in Khartoum, Sudan. As people die, the people of Africa have no answers, have no solutions. There is nothing to bring an end to the conflicts that have killed Africa. We seem to be new ones manufactured, old ones reignited, encouragement coming from external powers. One power that has been seen in the shadows of all these conflicts, especially the one of Libya that has escalated in the Sahara region of Africa, is France. When you come to Democratic Republic of Congo, the same country is in the shadows. The war can be seen is France. When you come to Cameroon, in Amazonia, the one behind that has the key to bringing peace is France. Therefore, our question as Africans, why are we silent? Why are we not saying enough is enough of the wars? Thank you.
coming to you from the political command center in Africa and across in Nairobi, Kenya, is Miriam Ogutu and the company. Fellow Africans, today's position is a very clear position for Africa. This show on Diaspora dispatches, we have broken the ranks of the usual Diaspora dispatches to bring this exclusive statement that touches Ethiopia and the war in Ethiopia. Fellow Africans, on behalf of Pan-African Forum and on behalf of myself and the entire millions of peace lovers, I would like to issue the following statement as regards the mediatorship of General Obasanjo, the former president of Nigeria, who has failed on several attempts on this continent of Africa to even deliver one peace process without hitches. Fellow Africans, the appointment of former President General Obasanjo is one factor that is disturbing millions of Africans who are not speaking at the moment. General Obasanjo has taken part in several peace processes on the continent of Africa. I have prepared a written text that will circulate, and it is on our website. But I will read one part of it to make the theme of this statement workable. Pan-African Forum states that the Ethiopian conflict has given millions across Africa and the world sleepless nights. The world is trying to see how it can help Ethiopia to achieve peace. We have looked at the American Civil War and how Abraham Lincoln handled that Civil War. We have learned some lessons which can be shared to many of the millions of Africans and Ethiopians. Pan-African Forum therefore knows that if you face a big problem, avoid making a bigger one. President Abraham Lincoln understood this version so well during the Trent affair between Britain and United States of America, which almost brought them to war. President Abraham Lincoln agrees, and God gave us a valuable lesson. Often, the conflicts you don't engage in can be just as important as the conflicts that you do engage in. The AU has played in the hands of the conflict of Ethiopia. Pan-African Forum therefore finds it and states that the Ethiopian conflict is a worry to the peace of the entire region. We have listened, and yesterday we listened to General Obasanjo while he was addressing the United Nations Security Council in New York. where he stated and admitted that indeed, as a special envoy and a mediator of the African Union, the window was closing so fast for a solution in Ethiopia. From his discussion yesterday and his speech to the United Nations Security Council, we are now convinced, and from the history, the intelligence gathered so far for over 20 years, we are now convinced, and we want to tell the African Union, the people of Africa, that General Olusegun Obasanjo will not and will never achieve peace in Ethiopia. In fact, if we leave the mediation in the hands of General Obasanjo, we shall have another terrible Yugoslavia with bleeding states within the continent of Africa and the Horn of East Africa. For those wishing and thinking that General Obasanjo can deliver peace in Ethiopia, I want to shock you that General Obasanjo, the son of soil of Africa, a man himself who overthrew a government before becoming democratic later, will only accelerate the collapse of Ethiopia. We have intelligence evidence. We have had evidence. Pan-African Forum has worked with General Obasanjo on several conflicts across the continent of Africa. We worked on the question of Taylor, the Liberian president, whom General Obasanjo betrayed together with Kofi Annan and handed him over to International Tribunal of Sierra Leone. We worked with General Obasanjo on the Kunda DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. We flew together to Ngoma. I initiated the telephone call on satellite to General Kunda. When we reached Ngoma, under the auspices of UN, General Obasanjo tried to meet Kunda alone until Kunda insisted he had to see Matanda and others. The story, which I can't tell to the public at the moment, is very bad news for a leader and a leader of that stature in Africa. The question of South Sudan, General Obasanjo was appointed by Madame Zuma to investigate the human rights abuses when the Sudan war erupted. Millions, hundreds of thousands, over 400,000 people perished. To date, no report has been filed. No report has been publicly made. If there's a report that was made, was doctored, South Sudan is still at the fringe and the periphery at the fringes of war. In 2002, General Obasanjo, together with Prime Minister Howard of Australia, in Melbourne House in London, in my presence, President Thabo Mbeki, Mama Zuma, Dr. Matsanga, Zimbabwe Foreign Minister Mudenge, and others, Obasanjo chose to stand by Howard to put sanctions on the people of Zimbabwe. Another case is the case of expelling Zimbabwe from the Commonwealth. Most of the people of the Commonwealth wanted to engage Mugabe to allow Zimbabwe to remain pressurized the changes within the Commonwealth perimeters. Obasanjo stood on another side and allowed Zimbabwe was formally it exit from the Commonwealth. Among all these things, one of the things that very outstanding is the Taylor case, where he left us in a hotel. President Chisano is a witness. President Thabo Mbeki is a witness. And he rushed back to his country, where he had lied to us that he was going to take care of Taylor. And Obasanjo ended up handing Taylor to his co-conspirator, Kofi Annan, the late Kofi Annan. The two Africans have never solved the problem anywhere on planet Earth. They only solved in Kenya. Kofi Annan came and solved a problem, then took an envelope to the imperial powers that give them the mandate. Kenyans can be witnesses. 20 names were taken. They have a modus operandi of how they negotiate peace. We note, therefore, with great concern the way things are going in Ethiopia. As much as we call upon all the peace-loving people, millions across Africa, to unite and call for peace and dialogue, we want to tell you frankly that Obasanjo is a messenger of one of the sides. We are not against Obasanjo as a person. We have reasons, and we have very high intelligence reports that if we put it to the public, it would harm an elder on the continent of Africa. But we have decided for me to say the truth and nothing but the truth. That has set me free, and it will set me free. I've worked with Thabo Mbeki on Darfur. I want you to tell me whether there is a war in Darfur today. I've worked with Chisano on the Uganda peace process, the Lord Resistance Army and the government of Uganda. I'm on record. Is there war in Jordan, Uganda today? Show me one gun that is killing people in northern Uganda. Because we worked so hard, tirelessly, consistently, honestly, and with Chisano, we delivered that peace process. There's no Ugandan who will point, not President Museveni, will not point a finger at me. I can only point a finger at him for having not paid my money. But I did work tirelessly to bring peace. Difficult conditions with Chisano. The AU must learn that it is only Chisano on this continent who has delivered peace in Madagascar. It is only Chisano who has been able to deliver peace in northern Uganda and in South Sudan. Few years ago, when the war in South Sudan erupted, I told the United Nations and the IGAD that the format of negotiations and the peace agreement that you are forming on South Sudan, until you bring in people like a Chisano, you will not win that war. The war has ended, but it is about to begin. There is another aspect that I want to address here today. The question of United States of America double standards. The United States of America has prepared, engineered, supplied logistics to people who want to take power in Addis Ababa. The United States has facilitated a 9-man committee in the US to openly regime change the government of the people of Ethiopia. At the same time, it is calling for peace talks and dialogue. What a shame to a country that should be telling us to seek peace, not war. As much as I predicted 2 years ago that Dr. Abiy Ahmed made a mistake to shake hands with the butcher of Asmara called Isaias Afwerki, I still maintain my stand that Ethiopia would have not gone to the dogs if Dr. Abiy Ahmed had followed what the other prime ministers had done before. Zenawi closed the border, cut off relationship with a terrorist. The other prime minister who followed Zenawi, a former friend of mine, a good friend of mine, the former minister, foreign affairs minister of Ethiopia, we have met in several conferences. We have chatted the chat for Africa. Did not open up any border and talks with Isaias Afwerki. Those who are seeking, therefore, to find peace in Ethiopia must first of all look at all the aspects, the root causes, the countries that have gone in to bring a proxy war, a war that has brought misery to the people of Ethiopia, a war that is being sponsored by the same Western powers that have fragmented Africa from time to time, the war that has brought us where we close borders of our countries in fear of the influx of refugees, the war that is going to make difficult conditions under COVID-19 conditions in Kenya, in Uganda, in Somalia, in Sudan, in South Sudan, in Djibouti, in Eritrea. The people of Djibouti and Eritrea, the people of Eritrea suffered crossing Mediterranean Sea, running away from a barbarous regime that harbors ambitions of terrorism around the region. Today, when you make Obasanjo a mediator, a French mole, the chairman of Alcatel, French company, a life member chairman, surely. We are talking about leaders surrendering power in Africa. Obasanjo lectures to us about democracy, but he does not surrender the chairmanship of Alcatel, where he is a life member. Fellow Africans, we conclude, therefore, that the peace mediator, the AU peace mediator in the Ethiopian conflict is not capable of resolving the conflict. Even if you gave him Sahara Desert and turned it into an ocean, he will never deliver peace in Ethiopia. Fellow Africans, that the African Union, therefore, send other peace envoys. There are other presidents on the continent, former presidents, like President Chisano, former president of Mozambique, who has delivered peace elsewhere. Like President Mahama, who can negotiate without any problem and taking sides. Like President Nujoma, who are ready, willing to walk around a long mile, along, and several other presidents that are former presidents who can help the African Union to mediate and resolve the conflicts. The conflict of Ethiopia, therefore, is a worry to us. On behalf of Pan-African Forum, fellow Africans, UK Limited, fellow Africans, I want to conclude by saying our prayers and the prayers of the people of Africa is the conflict is resolved without much bloodshed. But with Obasanjo as the mediator, you don't expect anything coming out. I have a lot of evidence. I have personal respect, personally, but I disagree on methodology, substance, style of negotiations, and approach of former President General Obasanjo. He's very violent. He can actually box you if you tell him something. I've rescued a younger man here called Lenas Kaikai, who was almost going to be boxed up in Mombasa in one of the meetings. Is this a man who can be a mediator? I have stated my reasons, and I've told you there are certain reasons for security purpose that I cannot table to the public. After all, there is a saying in Africa that when you beat your son, you don't complete the beat. You leave part of the hidden mistakes to yourselves to sort in the house. I pray that one day we shall meet with General Obasanjo. I've sent him a copy of my statement such that he can read as he flies out of Addis Ababa or inside Addis Ababa. It is up to the people of Ethiopia to decide. And Africa, for me, I've decided. Obasanjo is a wrong choice for the peace process of Ethiopia. Thank you. Thank you very much again. Thank you, Africa. Thank you, all of you. Thank you back to the studio in Nairobi, Miriam Ogutu, for any questions.
All right, thank you for that. Doc, you seem to have just exhausted, unless anybody else has anything else there to add. But for me, I don't think I'll be having questions. I think you've extensively explained and covered that topic very well. Unless somebody else wants to. Mm-hmm.
Any questions, Tawish? Any additional information?
Thank you so much, Dr. Masanga. Thank you, Miriam Mobutu, and of course, Sean Wesonga, my colleague panelist, and everyone who is watching this program. Indeed, it is a hot topic in the sense that as we speak now, Ethiopia really is going through a worst of its time. And it is only important that an amicable solution is found at least so that Ethiopia can get back to its foot, so that it can continue really building its own, the Ethiopian people can continue building its own nation. And Dr. Masanga has raised the reservation about the former president of Nigeria, that is Olusegun Obasanjo. And he's given reasons really to support his misgiving about his involvement or him being appointed as the AU envoy in bringing a truce or trying to strike a truce as far as the conflict in Ethiopia is concerned. And I do not understand why the people who are behind this kind of appointment cannot even look back onto the history. They cannot look back onto the credentials and look onto what has been the involvement and participation of President Olusegun Obasanjo in as far as finding peace in conflict-ridden regions in our Horn of Africa. It is unfortunate that they overlooked his, of course, tailing credentials and decided to give him yet a very huge mandate in a situation that is so volatile as Ethiopia. And therefore, Dr. Masanga, I likely really agree with you that perhaps they should have looked elsewhere. And we are not short of individuals. We are not short of eminent individuals who would have really come into place to try and negotiate a peace deal in the warring or among the warring facts in Ethiopia. But that said and done, it is also important for the people of Ethiopia really to be reminded that this country is theirs. They need to go back and build that shared prosperity for the greater good of their nation and for the greater good of the future generations. Because again, if they destroy Ethiopia because of the political contestation, they have nowhere else really to call home. In a country of over 100 million people, I understand that there's a lot of diversity by virtue of so many tribes. I believe there are about 90 or so ethnic tribes as we speak now, with so many languages being spoken in that country. That diversity must really be embraced. They should use that diversity for unity and not one which is going to disintegrate and tear apart Ethiopia. Because by the end of the day, they really have they really have to bequeath this Ethiopia to the future generations, and they will not want to do it when Ethiopia has been teared apart or when it is disintegrated. So I likely agree with you, Dr. Masanga, that perhaps we need to look elsewhere. We need to get people who, even those who are the warring parties in as far as this conflict is concerned, will have enough and bold confidence really to partake in these negotiations. Because when you have other sides really having misgivings, when they do not trust this envoy, then maybe we will just be making matters worse or escalating it from where it is now. So Dr. Masanga, I think in as much as the situation has gotten worse, the world has been silent about a year down the line when Ethiopia began or went down into this conflict. The African Union has been so silent. We are just waking up as though from slumber when things are almost getting out of hand. But I would want to say that we will remain optimistic that whatever kind of initiatives that are going to be put in place in seeing some semblance of peace and tranquility return and people really smile and maybe shake hands in Ethiopia, that will be a very great gesture, and that is the direction that we'll really appreciate and will encourage. I submit, Miriam.
Thank you very much. Stephen, there's a tape, a video that I sent you. Can we play that video, please? Before we call it a day.
Mm-hmm. He's saying he's getting it ready unless somebody else has
something else. So with Songa, you can see for yourselves. Surely, the man has never succeeded anywhere. Look, what pains me, Miriam, most is the South Sudan. No, you know, the guy went to South Sudan. He was mandated to find the culprits, the people who actually killed. He was paid money and he disappeared. He never brought. You see why South Sudan is still in chaos today. It's because that report, Miriam, had that report been brought out as it is, the commanders of both sides would stand trial, and they would have gone to stand trial in any tribunal, and the South Sudan would be stable. Obasanjo reached somewhere in a plane, changed the entire, removed the names of even invading, marauding armies that actually went to Juba to slaughter people. I speak the truth that he set me free. To give such a man, you will see what is going to happen there. Looking at the position of what is happening, the rebels are actually on parallel lines with the government. They are not. America has already got a 9-man committee to replace the prime minister. I think the prime minister is looking for which country to fly to. So what type of peace is this? Let's be honest. Thank you, Wesonga. Is that video ready? Go ahead, Wesonga.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Masanga David. And of course, I wouldn't even want to dilute a word of your submission. It has been a very, very powerful submission. And with that, you have told along empirical data, which shows the previous histories where General Olusegun Obasanjo has been the mediator, and that those efforts have fallen flat on the feet of those who are supporting such initiatives. So to me, I think I'll not delve much into it, lest I dilute your powerful submission. But all I'll have to say is that the truth is now out there for everyone to see. There is writing on the wall, and all points to the fact that we cannot accept or maybe afford the luxury of giving another country in chaos to the likes of General Olusegun Obasanjo, because all we'll have is a long-term crisis like what we have in South Sudan, and that will only serve to plunge the Ethiopia into more chaos. And we cannot actually also afford to have chaos in Ethiopia, chaos in Somalia, and most of the Horn of Africa. Otherwise, Dr. Masanga, I support you in that, because for every work that one is given, we need to see results before we are able to give them more opportunities to work in a particular, in that area of jurisdiction. So due to the empirical data that is out there on the efforts that are perhaps former President Obasanjo has always been trying, I believe he's not the right man to take that particular mettle of bringing peace and tranquility in the war-torn Ethiopia. I submit.
All right, the video is ready.
Let's see the video then.
Hi everyone, this is Mati from Addis Ababa, Meskel Square. As you can see, there's millions of Ethiopians out there telling the US, go back, do not get involved in our politics, okay? Ethiopia knows how to run a country. We're not one of America's state, we're a country. So you've got to leave us alone, okay? All these people are trying to tell you, we're fine, we've got a government, we're not going to compromise. There's no negotiation with TPLF. All we want to do is we can handle it. US or whatever, CNN, BBC, shame on you. This is Addis Ababa. As you can see, everybody's out here happy, shouting, determined to fight TPLF, and telling you, the US government, everyone else who is following this, stay away from Ethiopian politics. Just leave us alone. Hands off. This is Africa. You know, you think Africa is stupid, but we're not. We know where you're heading. So you've got to respect us. This is what everyone is telling us. So America, stay away from Ethiopian politics. We've been here longer than you are. So you've got to leave us alone. That's all everybody's saying now.
We're back. They've played the video.
So, Miriam, those sentiments are not very far away from my sentiment. Everybody inside Addis Ababa knows very well the game played by Mr. Obasanjo. He is their person. The United States of America has already got 90 men to take over power. A regime change, sponsored, equipped, supplied by the USA. How many governments in Africa are going to be changed that way? Instead of seeking dialogue, surely, Miriam, then tomorrow they will come to Kenyatta and tell Kenyatta, create a chaos, and tell him we are now getting a 9-man committee to handle Kenya. How on earth can we agree on that? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Africans. That is our contribution. Thank you, Miriam, for disrupting your program.
No, it's okay. This is important.
Diaspora dispatches. That's my statement. That's my stand. Obasanjo is not fit to mediate any peace on this continent. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.